much time do you need?
How much time do you plan to practice?
Well, I don't know. I'm asking you.
Do you do normally a half hour?
I can do that.
I'll take a half hour.
Okay.
First time I met Kylene, she was an incoming 6th grader, so she was finishing 5th grade. And we interview all of our kids. We have them come in and try all the instruments. Kylene was quiet and I want to use the phrase awkward, but only in the sense that she didn't care to be like anybody else. She came in and she knew who she wanted to be, and she wasn't sure how to do it yet. She tried all the instruments. I think Angela was with her. I think Mom came with her that day since Mom was working at the school at the same time. And she, I think, sat with the bass longer than any of the other instruments. I don't recall that she played it a lot, just that she liked the way that it felt. It felt natural to her, and she didn't really want to leave it. Yeah, I remember Mom having to be like, "Are you done?" Before she left.
So when I met her, she was just a typical kid. She was just a typical, bright, inquisitive, curious kid who had fallen in love with this gigantic beast of an instrument. Because there's just nothing subtle about a double bass, and she had really taken to it and wanted to. She wanted to be a part of whatever the double bass was, and it's not a typical thing for kids to pick the bass. The bass kind of chooses people more than people choose it, and there's just something about it that draws a particular kind of kid. And Kylene was that kind of kid, and she wanted to play this gigantic shipping crate with strings on it. And use it to explain herself to the world.
She's always been our different one. She wasn't as big as the other two. They were both over 9 pounds. She was only 7.
Yep. Little peanut.
She's always been more quiet and reserved, thoughtful. She thinks through everything.
Yeah. Everything. Just like her dad.
No, not like me.
Oh yeah, very much so.
She gets it all from you. Anyway.
Okay.
With Kylene, there's always been this interest in music.
I'd say so.
She just seemed to like it from an early age.
Yeah, she just kind of naturally picked it up in elementary school, learning songs and learning how to play the recorder. And she picked up that very quickly, the ability just to read music and know what she needed to do to play the recorder.
But then it got to a point, really by the end of the year, I think, which is when I referred her your direction, that she was like, sure, you want me to play? I'd rather play than talk to you. She would rather play the notes, play the music, tell me what to do, and I'll do it. But I don't want to have a conversation with you. That's not as entertaining for me, not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
What she said.
I had the same experience. I mean, it was. She was a wonderful student. Kylene was a wonderful student, but she was very difficult to talk with. I mean, she did not, trying to you had to pry words out of her to try and be able to be able to have a conversation about what are you experiencing, what are you feeling, because we're having to, when we're talking about playing at a very technical level, you have to be able to explain what's going on with your arms and your body and your shoulders and your hands, and as the teacher, you're not inside of the you're separated from the student, so you have to rely on the student's ability to communicate that back to you. And Kylene was perhaps one of the least communicative students that I had encountered in quite some time, and it took quite a while to sort of learn how to contend with that, and how to ask her questions in ways that would elicit a response, or to try and learn how to read her body language to have that tell me what I needed to know, as opposed to relying on her ability or even willingness to tell me almost anything.
But that silent power that she walks in a room with,
Right.
like she didn't have to
Scares other
take
kids.
over. It does. It scares other
Absolutely.
people.
And when musicians are listening to other musicians, I mean, with anybody's listening to a musician, but especially when a musician listens to another musician play, you don't have to speak the same language, because you can hear someone play and be like, "I got you. I know where you're at. I know what you're feeling. I know what you're trying to. I hear what you're saying, and I didn't have to understand the language. I didn't understand your language in order to be able to hear you very clearly."
And she's there. She's on that edge most of the time.
Kylene's relationship with music. It's a good question. Short answer, mutually beneficial relationship.
Recently started one, a master's in music therapy.
Oh, very cool.
I can see that being a path that she would be interested in. Her interoception, that concept of what is going on inside of yourself, and her level of compassionate empathy, I can see that being somewhere she could choose to go. She's also in control enough of that empathy that if it started to hurt, I think she could compassionately respond, but then also, leave the room and turn it off, and kind of let that rejuvenate in her. I could see that.
I bet she'd be amazing at that.
Yeah. I could see that very much. And going back to kind of how we saw her working with adults versus peers and younger children, music therapy is often used with those that are much older and those that are much younger, and in place of words. I can see that definitely being somewhere that she was comfortable being, with.
She would bring such a different perspective to that. I mean, just like
grandparents and kids.
Right.
And,
oh, she'd be amazing at that.
yeah.
So.
And
if she gets to bring George into it, then
it's just even a happier place for her.
Right.
When I first decided to make this film about my daughter, I was not expecting the emotional roller coaster that it has taken me on. We'll ignore the emotions of dealing with a diva star, but the emotions that came from hearing other people talk so well about her accomplishments, the way she is, the things she's capable of, the things she's done, and the fact that the voice she has found is a gift to the world. And she is probably the one who has inspired me the most to go find my voice. It just took me a while to find my medium. And I love you, Princess. And I'm proud of you.